Should I buy or should I rent in 2025? So, in this episode of Teach Me Tuesday, we're going to talk about the pros and cons of buying and renting, and if buying or renting is the best thing for you right now. What's up, guys? Wilmot here, and my teammate Gavin is on
What's
today.
up?
We don't have LaShawn today. She is busy out there taking care of people,
That's
and
right.
but we're gonna hold on the fort while
So
she's
we're
out.
gonna loosen up a little bit, you know. We ain't,
Loosen, loosen up a little bit, you know. Loosen up. But Gavin, man, I wanted to talk, man, about this topic. I just want to have a candid conversation about this with you because I definitely feel like this is something that I think a lot of people are struggling with as far as should they buy, should they rent,
Mm-hmm.
what's best for them. And because I hear a lot of talk out there, there's a lot of podcasters out there talking about, man, you should never buy a house, and then you have some people say you always should buy a house. So I just want to have a conversation about it, Gavin, and see what your thoughts are, and I'll give you my 2 cents as well. So
Yeah.
let's get into it.
Yeah, man. I mean, first of all, uh, renting and buying can sometimes be situational, man.
Hmm.
It depends on where you are in life. If you don't have the things in order to truly
Hmm.
be a homeowner, to take care of a property,
Right.
um, invest to make that investment, then the
Right.
answer for you, man, is not that time.
Yeah.
And you can use renting as a um, as like a a line to get to home ownership. I mean, a lifeline to get to home ownership in terms of being able to save money or work on credit or whatever it is that right now you're not currently ready.
Right.
Renting provides an option for you to have somewhere to live, for you to not have such a long term commitment. Um, and to just be able to also be flexible because again, I mean, when you're renting, you're renting, you may be renting for a reason. There are
Right.
people who rent and who are able to buy homes,
Right.
but yet they're renting for for certain reasons, man. You got people who travel for work or
Yeah.
who maybe contracted for a
Right.
certain period of time. And man, for
Absolutely.
them, it may not make sense to,
Buy a
make
house.
buy a
Yeah.
house, make an investment when, renting is going to be the temporary solution for them. So yeah,
Yeah.
man, it's situational. It's situational for certain.
Yeah, it depends on the individual, and so like one of the things. Let's talk about like affordability and upfront costs,
Yeah.
right? I think renting, man, a lower upfront cost.
Hmm.
Maybe a deposit first month, second month, first and last month's rent, upfront, and utility connection, something like that. You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
to get you into a rental property, but buying a house, man, hey dog, you gotta have
Mhm.
down payment, possibly. Okay.
Right.
You
Yeah.
might have to have that down payment, right?
What, no, the way you say that is you do have to have a down payment. Now,
Right.
whether or not you can get assistance or a program to cover that for you, then that's
Absolutely.
different. But you do have to have a down payment when buying a
There
home.
we go. Set me straight, Gavin. Set me
Right.
straight, brother. Because there's some other costs involved when buying, and I'm always upfront with my clients when it comes to that, man. Because I want them to know all the costs up front. Because hey, you got earnest money, you got inspections, you got down payment, you got all these different things that you got to consider when you're trying to buy a house, and that's
Mhm.
a part of that upfront cost. And renting, and guys, I know y'all like, man, these are two. This is a real estate agent and a mortgage guy that might be motivating. I won't say motivating you guys, but to rent. But you might be in a situation where you might have to get ready to buy a house.
Mhm.
Okay, you might have to be prepared to buy a house, and hey, you might have to save up. You might have to get the credit right. You might have to save and have some money aside for a rainy day,
Right.
because guess what? It's gonna rain some days when you got your house. Okay. When that HVAC unit go out, or when I got a situation right now, I gotta call an electrician because I gotta every time I try to open my garage, something trip, right? So I gotta get call somebody to come and check that out. But those are some of the costs of being a homeowner, and some people might not be ready for that, Gavin.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, yeah, it's a um you do have a new responsibility. I mean, I mean, you can buy something and let it go, go to waste,
Right,
let it go get run down. But hey,
right,
man, when we make a investment as huge as probably the biggest investment you're going to make in your life in buying a
right,
home, when it comes to the value of it, yeah, man, that's something you should be prideful of and you want to take care of.
right.
And I mean, depending on where you buy and where you live, sometimes
Hmm.
you're gonna have to take care of it because you're gonna have to you're gonna have a homeowners association that makes sure of it
Right.
in terms
Absolutely.
of appearance.
Yeah, yeah, man. So those HOAs will come after you if you're not, holding up your agreement as far as what the
Yeah,
expectation is for your property.
yeah,
Okay.
man. And then another thing for people to think of, I mean, like you got people that you got some very artistic and people who like the design and do things and
Mm-hmm.
whatever. Man, you can't if you want to make a space your own,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna have to own that space in most situations.
So Gavin, that brings it to another point. Flexibility versus stability. Well, no, not that point, but just understanding that if you don't own that property,
Hmm.
you don't have the flexibility to
To do
do the things that you want to do with that property, right?
right. Yeah, I
Right.
mean, you don't have the flexibility to host, you know, a big birthday party bash or a big cookout because you know what that may be against the rules for that property that you're renting, or
Mm,
that may or you don't that shared space that you share with other people and for the property that you're renting, doesn't
mm,
allow for that. But being an owner or owning, this property or this piece of land, could you get to do what you want to do,
right, right,
legally.
right. There's some responsibility there, Gavin. Like remember I was talking about maintenance. We were talking about maintenance, things you got to keep up,
Hmm.
or whatever. But like if you don't own that property, I had a client call me. They're thinking about buying this house, right? And however, they were told that uh, there's an older lady that lives there, and and she hoards, right?
Mm.
Um, if they buy it, they're going to really, make sure that she, cleans up the property because they don't want that person as a tenant if they are hoarders. Okay, so that being said, I'm not saying, hey, you buy a house, you should hoard. I'm not saying that at all. Okay. But what I'm saying is this: if you are renting, understand that property ownership could change. If the
True.
property ownership changes, then rules may change as well. Okay.
Hmm.
So it might have been yours. You might have been renting it for years on years on years,
And
right?
you might have been able to do certain things during that time,
Right.
but
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 if
it, but yeah, no,
like
like you're saying, when it changes to another owner,
yeah, they may
guess
have
what? Different rules may apply.
right. They may have other plans for that property which they
Mhm.
own. Okay. And it's a hard pill to swallow, I think, a lot of times when I see that because you got investors that are like, man, their mindset, hey, I'm gonna take care of the tenant, but however, my property needs to be taken care of as well.
Mhm.
So they're gonna have certain rules in place, Gavin. So that's that's where I think we were talking about, like, the flexibility and being able, if you own that property, you got a lot of flexibility there if you own it. Another one, Gavin, is let's talk about monthly payments.
Yeah,
Talk about
yeah,
monthly.
yeah. I mean, first of all, I want to kind of lay it out for people like this. So the difference between or one of the difference between somebody who owns a home and who is renting a home
Mm-hmm.
is that more times than none, you're going to be paying more to rent that home than you're going to be paying in a monthly payment to own it. I say
Mm,
that to say is because if I go out right now to buy the house that you want to live in, let's say I go buy it because I know for certain you want, I got a renter. I got, this is going to be a good house to rent. Well, guess what? I bought it and I have a monthly mortgage payment on it.
Right.
And my monthly mortgage payment as an investor, because
Mm.
I'm going to probably have a higher interest rate, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be, my property taxes are going to be higher in the state of South Carolina,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm now being taxed at a non-resident rate. So
Mm-hmm.
guess what? My mortgage payment, because I'm not, it's not my primary resident, is gonna cost me more money.
Right.
It's gonna provide me with a higher mortgage payment. So now in return for that, guess what I got to do? Because
Mm-hmm.
my goal is to make money off my rental.
Mm-hmm.
I got to charge you a higher rent
Right. Because you
than
got to
what it
make a
would have
profit.
cost you to buy that home yourself and live in it comfortably yourself. So
Right.
we're talking, anywhere $400 or $500 more by you in your monthly rent payment than what you would have in your mortgage payment, because
Mm-hmm.
you got the middleman has to get paid,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just not apples to apples, because it's somebody's investment as opposed to your primary residence that you purchased and that you're living in, and getting lower property taxes being considered, and also maybe possibly a lower interest rate with buying it as a primary residence. So yeah, man, that's one thing to think about.
Right. Right. And so just to play kind of like devil's advocate, Gavin, like, yeah, man, that's fine. Hey, I'll pay more. But guess what?
Mhm.
Something go wrong, you gonna fix it,
This
right?
is true.
If you a good landlord, you should
Mhm.
fix it, right? Hey, I'm okay with that. All I gotta worry about is my rent and possibly my utilities, because sometimes utilities are included. Just depends on how you're living, what type of living. There are some different spaces out there right now where utilities are included in the rent. So you know, it might be a situation for you where you're like, man, I need to simplify my life. Let me just pay my rent, my utilities. I'm good. Buying a house, got property insurance, got to take care of. You know what I'm saying? Got the HOA you might have to take care of as well if you live in the HOA community. There are some other things. I see some of them have regime fees as
Mhm.
well if you stay in a condominium. So it's some different costs that might be incurred when buying a house, and not even talking about the maintenance aspect as far as like cutting the grass and things of that nature, maintaining the property.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's some different costs involved. So we need to know all the costs before we start buying a house. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, like I said,
Mhm.
it for each individual, it has to it has to make sense.
Right.
But at all times, I mean, I don't in any situation,
Mm-hmm.
if it boils down to whether you can buy a house,
Mm-hmm.
and you're just opposed to, for whatever you know nuances, reasons that are out in the atmosphere,
Right.
that, well, this person said, man, the housing market's gonna crash, or this person said, man, rates are gonna go down eventually, so just hold off and wait. my
Right.
my all-time advice to you is gonna always be, stop listening to the noise.
Right.
If you're in a position to pay
To
your
own.
own mortgage today,
Mm-hmm.
do so, because
Mm-hmm.
that investment, that's the investment you're making in yourself. Now, if you're not in that position, then yes, you have to prepare yourself to get there. But if you are capable of purchasing a home, and there's no hurdle or obstacle or particular reason, such as you're only here in this area temporarily, or whatever it may be, um,
Right.
that truly is stopping you from that makes it not be a good decision, man,
Mm-hmm.
buy the
Right.
home, make the investment yourself, and pay your mortgage and not somebody else's.
Right. You bring me to the next point, Gavin. You talk about paying someone else's mortgage, building equity. Okay.
Hmm.
When you're renting, you're paying someone else's mortgages, and also, guess what? You're building their equity.
Yeah.
But if you bought the house, you build your own equity, building wealth through home equity over time.
All right.
Okay. And I just, so you understand that, like, think about it. I and I'm please, guys, understand. I'm not trying to step on toes or anything like that. I'm just trying to give you some information. Let's say you stayed in a property for the last 10 years and you were renting it. And
Hmm.
then next thing you know, you decided to move, right? When you move, you might even lose your deposit depending on how you left the property, you
Mhm.
know. But if you bought a house 10 years ago and you sold it today, 9 times out of 10, almost want to say 10 times out of 10,
Oh yeah, 10 times out of 10.
it'll appreciate it. Okay. It just depends on how you maintained it and everything of that nature as well. So like
You
I
just gonna get some. You're gonna get some value back.
yeah,
Period.
you're gonna get something back, man. I've seen people walk away with great equity to even put towards something else that they wanted, as far as another property or make an investment. So I just think that it's a great situation to put yourself in if you see yourself staying in a property, let's say 3 to 5 years or more. Okay.
Mhm.
And I specifically said 3 to 5 because I don't want you thinking like, hey, I'm gonna move in this year, I'm gonna move out, and I'm gonna have a ton of equity. A lot of times it don't work like that. Okay.
Right.
But 3 to 5, I think it's safe to say your home will appreciate depending on market conditions and things of that nature as well, Gavin.
Yeah, man. I think
Mm,
it's good stuff. I mean, that definitely gave the people, it from both ends, man. We talked about,
right,
renting and the pros and kind of cons of that, and then
right.
also the things to be aware of when buying a home. And
Hmm.
and we're gonna promote that all day, each and every day.
Right.
But again, it's situational. You got to be prepared and be ready for that. So I think it was a good topic today, bro.
Absolutely, man. So we're gonna conclude it right here. We 15, 16 minutes don't went by that quick. And but if you guys have any questions pertaining to real estate, mortgages, please reach out to me or Gavin, and we'll be happy to help with your real estate and mortgage needs. All right.
Always.
Signing off. Teach Me Tuesday. Let us know if we can help. Okay.
Peace.
Peace.